Well, certainly this will rustle some feathers, because this is a very hot topic. And I don't know why. I don't know why some people are so high strung on both ends of the spectrum with this. But we're going to talk about the Intellivision Amico today. I've talked about it before on the main channel. I haven't talked about it in several years on the main channel. And there's a reason why. Obviously, first and foremost, it's not all that interesting, as a console is concerned. Initially, there was some buzz about it, but as time has gone on, more and more fallacies, more and more problems have been revealed with this system. And as it stands right now, the system still isn't out. I've been talking about the system for over 3 years on the channel, but the system is still not out. So I feel like there's more to the story than meets the eye. Of course, you could go on YouTube and find all sorts of videos about this thing where people will die for this system and people will want to kill you for liking this system. It's a very tribalistic area that, I really don't want to get involved with as far as the beef is concerned, because it's a fucking video game. Like, these people are losing their minds over a fucking video game, which is just bizarre. This is a children's medium, a piece of plastic for entertainment. Like, it's not that serious. You don't have to threaten people on both ends of the spectrum. But I just want to talk about this system a little bit because things don't look good. Things don't look good for this system, and I kind of want to explore why things don't look good, sort of what went wrong, at least in my opinion. I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything like this. I'm just someone with a voice on the internet, but I feel like my voice needs to be heard. So initially, they showed a trailer of this thing back in 2018, and I reacted to that trailer on the main channel. You can find that video on the main channel, and I liked it. I wasn't in love with it. I didn't think it was going to revolutionize the video game industry, but what they showed in that initial trailer was interesting. It was interesting enough to make me be curious about it. Basically, a system with a bunch of old IPs being revived with versions done especially for the Intellivision Amico. All the games are going to be $10 or less. The system itself is going to cost $149 to $179. I feel like there's a marketplace for something like that. Is it a big marketplace? Is it something that's going to, transform the world of video games? No, no, it's not. But it looked like something that would be a fun alternative at the very least. Something like the Evercade, something like the Playdate. It's not going to light the world on fire, but it's something that should be, and it should be sustainable enough to where it's a fun little diversion system. It's nothing too crazy, but it's something that's there. And of course, they announced that Earthworm Jim was going to be exclusive to it. I'm an Earthworm Jim fan. I know that people don't like the creator of Earthworm Jim, whatever. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about surface level. And on the surface level, I like Earthworm Jim as a video game. You know what I'm saying? It's a fun game. The humor in it is sometimes hit or miss, but Earthworm Jim and Earthworm Jim 2 are great games. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. We don't really talk about the third game, but looking at the problems of this system, ever since they talked about Earthworm Jim, it's just been a steady decline for this system. And you could talk about the financial stuff, you could talk about all the weird shit that's happening behind the scenes. I'm not talking about that. There's plenty of videos that are talking about that. I suggest you guys go check them out if you're interested. I'm just talking about it strictly from a surface level and where the system stands right now in 2022, because like I said, I made those videos back in 2018, and this system isn't out yet. It's still not out yet. It doesn't look like it's anywhere close to being manufactured. And yes, I understand that COVID ravaged the video game industry. However, there are still other systems from smaller companies that are managing to come out. Things like the aforementioned Evercade, things like the Playdate, things like the Analog Pocket. These systems are coming out or have come out. They're there. You can buy them. You can buy them right now, or you can pre-order. I'm not sure if the Playdate is out yet. Honestly, I wasn't super interested in that. But the Evercade Versus was announced after the Intellivision Amico and released after the system, and it did exactly what it was intended to do. Same thing with the Analog Pocket. But the Amico just hasn't met any of these marks yet, and it seems like there's just so many problems with it, and I'm going to talk about the problems I see with it. This is just my opinion. There's no beef here. There's no trying to start drama. If you get mad about this, seek help, because it is a video game system and there's no reason to be upset about it. You could disagree with what I'm saying. That's fine. I don't care. But if you're getting angry, if you're getting so angry that I gotta make a mean post about this person on Twitter, fucking seek help, because there's something mentally wrong with you. So here's the problem with the system. The aforementioned 149 to 179 is out the window. Okay. The system is looking to retail at 250. There has been rumors that that's just going to be for the people who pre-ordered the system years ago. And now the system is actually going to be more expensive. That's fucking ridiculous. There's no rhyme or reason for this, especially when you look at the games it's producing. Now, games are a subjective thing, but when I look at this system, I don't see anything that's saying, hey, you need to buy this system in order to play this specific game, because all of the games pretty much have something available like it already on Android and iOS and the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation systems and your PC. Pretty much everything can play games that are super similar to this. And I don't feel like the old licenses of the Intellivision properties really mean jack shit in 2022. I don't think there's many people that are like, fucking I need a new Astro Smash. Like, I'm 36, okay? The Intellivision was before my time. I don't give a fuck about it. I don't care about it. But if you're introducing a new product into the marketplace, then maybe I would care. And when you look at the titles that they talked about in that initial trailer for the Intellivision Amico, a lot of those titles were games that were like NES games or you know, 80s, late 80s arcade games. So they're games that I understand. They're games that I'm familiar with. And then to sort of just, you know, dissociate yourself from those games and just talk about these other games like Shark. Okay, like it looks like a game you maybe play for a few minutes and then just go about your life. And maybe that's the intent of the system, but I'm not quite sure. And I think the biggest problem with this, though, has just been the communication with it, because the communication has been bat fucking shit crazy. And that's really the only way I could lay it out. Now, Tommy Tallarico is someone I have talked to before. I have no beef with Tommy Tallarico. I understand that, you know, he's an Italian dude. Italian dudes are loud and boisterous and like to get their opinion out there. I understand that. I am an Italian person, but I feel like this was a case of talking too much, you know, going on all these different channels to talk about games, going on all these channels to talk about when the system is going to come out and something like that. I don't feel like that was a good decision, because there's a reason why these other companies don't do things like that. There's a reason why you don't hear, you know, Doug Bowser talking to some random YouTube channel about the future of their system, because in my opinion, it's not the right way to conduct business when you're trying to be a big business. If you're a small homegrown thing, you know, maybe you're trying to do a Kickstarter or something like that, you know, you're just an unknown company like that, I can understand, because you're trying to get your name out there. But if your name is already out there, you're taking the branding of something that does hold place to some people in television. I'm not sure how relevant it is in 2022, but you're taking a brand that does have some history in the video game industry. You're taking people from the video game industry that people would recognize, people like Tommy Tallarico, David Perry. Like, I know David Perry well from playing games that he made, like Cool Spot and shit like that. Like, I understand those names. So when you're a bigger company, or you're trying to perceive yourself as a bigger company, I think talking too much really hurts the product, because if you look at all the times when they've talked about things, a lot of those things haven't come to fruition. That 149 to 179 price point didn't come to fruition. That 2020 launch date did not come to fruition. That 2021 launch date did not come to fruition. Things like, I remember Tommy did an interview on Review Tech's channel talking about, oh yeah, we're talking to Konami about Contra and Castlevania. It's like, no, you're not. Like, maybe you sent an email and they were like, we're making a new system, and they were like, hey, you know, let us know if it comes out or something like that. Konami and Contra, they're not even making fucking versions of this for the Switch. Like, the goddamn Switch has sold over 100 million units and they're not making it, but they're gonna make a specific game just for you, because all the games have to have something exclusive to the Amico version for this system that still isn't out yet. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I feel like, you know, God damn, I'm going to get in trouble. I don't care. I feel like a lot of this tribalism that comes with the system is because of the fact that a lot of smaller YouTubers or brand new YouTubers have sort of latched onto this Intellivision thing because of Tommy's readily availability. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like these people have sort of built a bond beyond just the business side of things. Like, if Nintendo does something that I don't like, if Sony does something that I don't like, if Sega does something I don't like, if any company does something I don't like, I'll talk about it. You know, I don't care. If I need to step on toes, like, I will. But I feel like these people, they won't, because they're, I wouldn't say afraid, but maybe they're just unversed or not well versed in how to sort of handle things like this, handling someone, and being a little starstruck. Like, let's be real. If this was 5 years ago and this system was a thing, I probably would have had Tommy talk about it on my channel. I don't think I would go to the great lengths that some of these channels do, but I probably would have had him on there, and I probably would have been a little starstruck because, he made fucking the Terminator soundtrack on Sega CD. Like, that's a fucking bop. But you got to realize that, these people aren't really your friends. And I know they feel like friends, and I know you create friendships with them, but you have to remember there's boundaries in friendships, especially when it comes to the business side of things. Going on a channel that has 1,000 subscribers, that video gets maybe 3,000 views, to announce major things such as shifts in, manufacturing, delays for the system, new games, new IPs and stuff like that. That to me is just ridiculous. That's not how you market something. I understand the whole grassroots sort of movement with things, but look at how the other companies market stuff. Now, I've actually broken stories on the main channel. I can think of two that just definitely stick out to me. Retromania Wrestling being announced as coming to the Nintendo Switch, and the Sega Genesis Mini games reveals. Now, in both of those situations, I basically so Retromania was a little different than the Sega Genesis Mini. So we'll talk about the Retromania. With Retromania, I was the one. They gave me the exclusive because I was friends with Stevie Richards. They gave me an exclusive to unveil that game as coming to the Nintendo Switch. And when my video went up, they were also going to send out a press release. So everyone that was talking about this game was either talking about my video or the press release that they sent out, because they coincided with it. And it was something that, obviously, if you're sending out a video to a somewhat larger channel, I'm not the biggest cat on the block or anything, but people are going to pick up on that. People are going to report on that. And then, of course, the press release covers anyone who wouldn't have, maybe seen the video. Same thing with the Sega Genesis Mini. Sega reached out to me. They reached out to a handful of content creators, and they're like, hey, do you want to unveil these games on your channel? And I was like, fuck yeah. And they're like, all right, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to have a upload time when all of you guys can upload at the same time. And then we're also going to send out a press release at the same time. So once again, all of those videos hit the internet with the Sega Genesis Mini, talking about things like, the release date, the games that are going to be unavailable. I'm pretty sure we did like 10 games at a time on that. And they also did a press release. So everyone was covered. Everyone was covered. You didn't have to go onto YouTube. You could just search on the internet and see, oh, Retromania Wrestling is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Oh, the Sega Genesis Mini is getting these games, because they covered their grounds. And with the Amico, like, you have to watch like a 3-hour live stream in order to just get updates and information. They're on their 4th round of crowdfunding, which I haven't even talked about yet. But if you're on your 4th round of crowdfunding and the crowdfunding isn't going all that well, maybe it's time to just swallow your pride a little bit and become more realistic with this system instead of making just empty promises. Because I feel like in the end, a lot of people are going to be very burned by this. A lot of these Amico channels that talk about the Amico all the time, I really feel like they're going to be burned by this. And I don't think it's going to be a very pretty scene. I do think the Amico will come out in some capacity. Really, if I'm being 100% honest, I think they'll get the pre-orders out, the Founders Editions and the pre-ordered editions. And then I think that's it. I just don't see how this is going to work out, because at the end of the day, like mainstream media doesn't care about it. There's not enough there. There's been so much scrutiny. There's been so many just weird things that have happened. There's been so many delays. Now there's so many crowdfunding campaigns. I just don't see this thing taking off. It sucks. It sucks because I do think the initial trailer for this system was a decent idea. I don't think it was going to light the world on fire, but I do feel like it would have done something. I feel like it would have found a little niche marketplace that it would be able to capitalize on and, be somewhat successful. But as it stands now, it's like, fuck, man, you're going up against the big boys, and, they don't even really know you exist. And they're just going to kind of step on you and, go about their business. So I don't know, man. It's an uphill battle. I love to follow it, though. Just, this is just me talking here. I love to follow it. The extreme sides, the diehards and the diehard haters just bashing heads all the time. It's fucking amazing to see. It's so out there and, crazy. And it's just very tribalistic. And that's really why I never wanted to talk about it, because I don't want to be lumped in any sort of tribe. But I'm just kind of like, fuck it, at this point, who cares? People have said horrible things about me. And that's another thing. God damn. Let me just wrap this up very briefly. 15 minutes. Jesus Christ. That's another thing though. It's like, if you say the Intellivision Amico isn't for you, or you don't think it's a good looking system, you're like insulting people. It seems like that's the mentality. You're insulting individuals. You're insulting the company. You're insulting the people that work at the company. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then the people from the company will go and like make retorts and, say, no, this is wrong. You're wrong. You're like in fucking YouTube comments. Do you know how many people hate me? Do you know how many people say shit to me all the time? They say shit to me on social media. They say shit to me in the comment sections of my video. You know what I do? I don't give a fuck. Because I know what I do is good. I know what I do is coming from a good place. I know that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who enjoy what I do. I don't need affirmation from people who don't like me. Maybe eventually me and those people who don't like me will see eye to eye. Maybe I used to see eye to eye with those people and now those people don't like me. Whatever the case may be, just don't worry about it. Let the product speak for itself. If you make a great product, it doesn't fucking matter about what little Jimmy Joe with 500 subs had to say about your product, because you're going for something bigger than that. You're going for a bigger piece of the pie. Don't focus on the negative people. Focus on the positive people, but also don't pander to those positive people. Pander to your product. Pander to making the best product available. I'm done talking about this. Goodbye.